Hello, my name is Patricia Holmes and I am your Photoshop instructor, and we are working on Chapter 1. So the first thing you need to do is go ahead and launch Photoshop and go ahead and open up the file that's been provided for us by the author. So we're going to go with Photoshop open. I want you to go File Open, go into Lesson 1, choose the Start file, hit Return, and what we see here is an image of a rose. Now, before I get into a few of the lessons here for Chapter 1, I want to remind you of a couple things. Number 1, you can stop and pause this video as you need to. Number 2, make sure your volume is up. And number 3, sometimes to keep things short, I like to cut these videos. See, Chapter 1 might be 2 or 3 videos to keep the time to a minimum. Okay, so let's get going. The learning objectives for Chapter 1 is to get to know our working area, our interface. So to the left, we're going to see our toolbar. To the right, we're going to see the layer panel that holds our content. And then these are some other panels we're going to be working with. The first thing the author wants us to do in the book, and by the way, if the toolbar or any of these are not showing, simply go Window and make sure whatever it is that you want is selected. So tools are down here, layers here, color, etc. Okay, first thing the author has us do is to go into the zoom tool, and he's going to show us how we can zoom forward or to go back. I'm using a Mac. I'm going to hit the Option key. And for a PC, I believe it's a Command key. So anyway, we are using the zoom tool. Sometimes we need to zoom in to really take a look at pixels and things like this. So the other way of zooming is there's an icon checked up here called Scrubby Zoom. And all Scrubby Zoom means is that if you take the zoom tool and drag it to the right, it's going to expand. It's going to expand like this. If you drag it to the left, it's going to get smaller. So that's the Scrubby tool. I'm going to just drag it to the right a little bit. I'm actually going to uncheck it. I want to do this manually by just clicking the icon. Okay, next, what the author is having us do in the chapter is the author is having us brighten this image a little bit. So we're going to click on the rose layer. We're going to come over here to adjustments and we're going to click the brightness contrast. And the author wants us to type in for brightness 98 and for contrast 18. And we're done. So you're going to notice there's a new layer that has been automatically added. And this eyeball icon right here will hide it or show it. So you can also delete these layers by dragging it down to the trash can here to the bottom right. Okay, so we brightened our image. Next, what the author wants us to do is unblind this ribbon layer. So there's been a ribbon made for us, happy birthday. And we're going to get a sample of this blue because we're going to use it to add our own ribbon. So I'm going to come over here to the, we can go ahead, let's make sure we're on the ribbon layer. So click on the ribbon layer, make sure you're clicked on it. We're going to use the tool that says eyedrop, and you'll see this little arrow that has a sub menu. So the fifth tool down should be the eyedrop. So click the eyedrop, and we're going to click this blue, and we're going to get a sample. The sample is down here in our swatch. We can see that. Perfect. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add a very similar ribbon, but we're going to make it ourselves. We're going to come over here to the rectangle marquee. And again, if that rectangle is not there, click that little bitty arrow to get the submenu. We're going to click the rectangle marquee. We are going to drag a similar size. We're going to make our own. We're going to drag a similar size rectangle right down here. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just put one right about here. And now we're going to fill it in with that blue color. a lot of different ways we can fill it in. But let's just grab a paintbrush. I'm going to grab a paintbrush over here. I'm going to make sure I have a pretty good size brush. That's a good size brush. I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to take my mouse and I'm going to start painting. And it's going to stay within the confines of that rectangle mark key. You don't have to worry about going out because it won't show. Ah, that is beautiful. Okay, now we filled that in, and I'm going to hit Command D to deselect it. You can also go up to the menu and hit Select, Deselect. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come over here per the author's instructions, and the third icon, we're going to click it and we're going to pick the polygonal lasso tool. I'm going to click that. And what we're going to do is, let me zoom in a little bit here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see it. What we're going to do is we are going to use this polygonal lasso tool. We're going to take a little section out of it, very similar to that, how that section right there is gone. Click once in the very top corner. Let go of your mouse. Then drag, hold the mouse down, drag it at a particular angle that I'm showing you. Let go of your mouse, click your mouse again, go to the far corner, let go of your mouse. Now click and hold the mouse again and go back up to the top. When you see these marching ants, that means everything's connected. Now I want you to hit delete. Now we just took a little slice out just like it is up here, and then hit Command D to deselect it. I don't like that little blue, which is a perfect lesson for me to tell you to come over here, grab the eraser, and let's just erase that out. There we go. And again, the secret is being on the correct layer. I'm on the ribbon layer. Okay, we have a couple more things to do. We're going to click the text tool, and I'm going to click a pretty decent sized text. Let's pick 36 point. Because remember, if you look at the very bottom left down here, we're only at 50% of the original size. I'm going to make sure I'm on horizontal text. And per the author's instructions, I'm going to type in the name Elaine. And you're seeing, I'm going to go ahead and type it E-L-A-I-N-E. It's the same color. Here's the learning lesson. See this T icon? Double click it, and it just selected it. Now we're going to change the color. I'm going to use this arrow to flip it. Now Elaine is white. The text of Elaine is now white. I'm going to deselect it by clicking something else. I'm going to click up here at top. Actually, I'm just sorry about that. I'm going to click the ribbon layer. I'm going to click anything to deselect it. Okay, now I'm going to make sure I'm back on the Elaine layer. I'm going to use this very top tool, the move tool. It looks like a small little cross. I'm going to grab the word Elaine. I'm going to center it to my liking. Okay, so then we're done. This is the end of chapter 1. We've made a few changes to an image. We made a happy birthday card. We can continue to play around with the texture and the icon, the look of this. Maybe in the next chapter 2 we can learn how to do this. But right now, I want you to go File, and I want you to Save As, and I want you to save it as working. So I want you to save it as 01 working. Okay, and I'm going to show you real quickly how to save it as a JPEG. So I'm going to hit Enter. You're going to hit OK. Now we have the work in progress file saved. Now this is what I want you to do. I want you to go File. I want you to go Save As. And I want you to look right down here, find JPEG, hit Save, hit OK, and send me the JPEG. The JPEG file will show me your work, and it's considerably smaller than the work in progress file. Okay guys, that's the end of chapter 1 tutorial. Thanks for listening.